And yet, as the year turned, the outlook was bleak, with no sign of an end to the deadlock on the Western Front. To add to the misery of the trenches, the winter was one of the coldest in living memory.
We used to have to sleep in our clothes, and our boots, we used to place our top boots under our bodies because they used to be stiff in the morning. One couldn't get them on. The weather then was very, very bitter. The ground was frozen hard. The hoofs of a horse or the tread of a man's boot would linger for quite a month. And when we received our rations, the bread had to be sawn through because the ice, we could see the ice in it.
One slip on the treacherous ground could be fatal. Survival a matter of chance.
The bloodbath of the Somme was over. We were now to the stagnation period where we got back to trench warfare for the winter. This would be about February, a bitterly cold night, water everywhere. I was sent with a message down to brigade headquarters. I had a look round. The trenches were waterlogged, so I decided that I would take over the top, which would save me at least 2/3 of the journey. I then became entangled in the barbed wire. Now, as I struggled hard to get away from this barbed wire, suddenly it gave and catapulted me into one of the biggest shell holes that I'd ever come across. As I slid down into the bottom of the shell hole, I looked around, took my torch out, flashed it round, and to my horror, I had a German companion. That was where the terrible stink came from. I thought, heavens, am I going to spend a night with you? I knew very well that unless help came, it was impossible to get out. I reviewed the position. I thought, well, you're here, your only hope's the morning, and your only hope is to keep your head up. So I took my rifle and jammed it into the side of the shell hole as far as ever I could possibly get it to give me some support, putting my right arm through the sling of the rifle. During this period, the Germans commenced shelling the area. This I was rather pleased with because it gave me something to interest myself in. It kept me awake, it kept me alive. Well, eventually, I realized that I was going further and further and further down into this mire. I then began to despair. I thought, well, what is this? I'd sooner be killed with a shell or a bullet than to die in a bloody, filthy shell hole that's stinking like hell. From that, I remembered no more until I thought, can I be dreaming? There's footsteps. There's footsteps somewhere. Feebly I tried to shout. These footsteps still went round. Still I shouted. Then I heard a voice say, "Where are you? Where are you?" "Here, here, here," I shouted. "I'm here in the shell hole." The footsteps went round again for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden, looking up, I saw a head appear over the top. "Oh my God," he says, hang on, hang on, chum." I remembered no more from that hang on until I found myself in a hospital between white sheets. The man who saved my life was a signaller. The shelling of the previous evening by the Germans had broken the telephone wires, and he was coming along to mend the telephone wires.
To keep the cold at bay, the Welsh Fusilier Frank Richards and his comrades were forced to take desperate measures.
Well, I think one of the hardest things I had to do during the war was in 1917 when we took over some trenches from the French at Cleary. Well, it was a very desolate place. Our trenches run into the River Somme. There wasn't a tree, there wasn't anything for miles and miles around there.